Rayman is a franchise not known for excellent boss fights or terrible boss fights. In fact, the boss battles in the Rayman series often go overlooked, for better or for worse. You see, across the 5 main games there are all manner of encounters, some great, some not so great. So in this video I want to go through what I think are the best boss fights in each of the 5 games. Then in the next video I'll go through the worst. This is part of an ongoing series where I look at the levels, boss fights and music and more, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. Without further ado, but with the knowledge that this is my opinion, which I am entitled to, therefore we should keep it friendly in the comments, let's get into it. Rayman 1 is a funky game. For me, the main levels aren't the best. I've said it before and I don't want to sound like a broken record of Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice that I bought in a market only to get a look of contempt from the seller as I handed him the 50p coin, because that would just bore everyone. So instead I'll just say that I really like the boss fights in this game. They feel appropriate for the gameplay style. It's very easy to learn the moves the enemies make, but very hard to master them. It's a good mix, and I really do love them. Maybe not Mr. Dark, but I've mentioned him before, so what is the best one? Well, I think the Mr. Sax fight challenges the player beautifully. It's hard, like really hard, but fair. It never sacrifices the fun element in favour of difficulty. It's inventive. It's at the end of arguably the best world anyway. Mr. Sax just is a great boss fight. The projectile music notes are loads of fun to dodge and hit back. I don't know, there's just so much I can say about this one. In a game full of boss fights that require patience and skill to learn and overcome them, this one just shines as the tightest and most fun. But going from the challenging, tightly designed boss battles of Rayman 1, how does Rayman 2 fare with boss fights? Oh good. Rayman 2 is a weird one because the game is so good, but the boss fights are just fine at best. I do have a favourite, and I would hope that this is the general consensus because frankly there isn't a lot of choice. For now, I just want to stick to the main versions of Rayman 2 and not include the bosses from Rayman Revolution, but frankly even if I did include them, it would have no effect on my choice here. I think Fouch, the guardian of the Sanctuary of Rock and Lava, and therefore the guardian of the Third Mask, is the best boss fight in the game. I like Axel and I have my opinions about the final boss, but yeah, Fouch is fun. You run around the circular arena having fire thrown at you as an obstacle, and then once you're far enough you jump and hit the spikes till they land on Fouch's head and he dies. After each spike he gets more aggressive. It's a very by the books boss fight, but it's excellent. It does it well, it's fun and it's a bit tough sometimes. It's really satisfying when he's finally defeated. I love it. Rayman 2 shines at being an exploration based platformer with combat definitely taking the back seat, so for a boss fight like this to be present and to be as good as it is, I'm impressed. It knows the game's strengths and plays pretty well to them. The player should be good at jumping and avoiding obstacles at this point, so let's test that. It's just a shame there weren't more fights like this. Shout out to the Clark fight in the Tomb of the Ancients though, that's fun, and that was my second choice. Rayman 3, the second and only other 3D entry in the series, at least the main ones. Does it do boss fights better than Rayman 2? Oh yeah, hands down, without question. It's really tough to pick my favourite boss fight from this game because I love so many of them, but my instinctive answer is lumbered with one of my least favourite parts of a boss fight, so I'm not sure I can, in good faith, say the final fight against Reflux. It's really amazing until you have to shoot from that damn hovercraft. Man, I've got a video already where I go through every world in Rayman 2 as a sort of retrospective, and I go through what makes each level good or bad and put them on a tier list. Yeah, about a quarter of that script was dedicated to this boss fight because I got a lot to say. I had to cut so much of it out when actually editing. Anyway, I can't say that's the best in the game, but I can say the first Reflux fight is. This thing is so damn good. After a tense journey through the Kanaran desert, you have to face the best warrior, which is kind of funny when you think about it. The whole time you're in a desert, you're told you can't kill a Kanaran, and they prove that. They will take you down instantly. So then, when you have to fight the toughest Kanaran soldier ever, you defeat him twice. He's potentially the weakest Kanaran if you think about it. Or I could go philosophical and say that the fear of the Kanaran is far stronger than their actual strength, much like depression and anxiety, and if you actually face your fears, you'll realise they're very easily defeated and it's just their presence that is more threatening than anything else. But I've already made a video about how Rayman 3 is basically just a massive metaphor for depression, and I'm not going to do that again. Anyway, this circular arena is perfect for a close quarters, tense, non-stop fight. The phases of attacks Reflux has, the fire on the arena, the aggression as his health goes down. Again, very by the books, but it absolutely nails it. The music goes hard in this level too. I love this boss, and it's always the highlight of the entire world for me. Really great. And so to get a rehash of this but harder as the first phase of the final Reflux fight was a really good move. It's just a shame they taint it with the final fight so badly. Anyway, moving on. Rayman Origins. Bosses, good or bad? Well, good. Mostly, actually. The boss fights in Rayman Origins are quite something. Some of them are really short, some are more or less platforming levels. It's a nice variety. I love the final boss against Big Mama, and while I think it works perfectly as an ending to what I would say is the best level, I actually think there are stronger individual boss fights hidden within the game. Well, not hidden, I mean you have to do them. You know what I mean. Carnivora, you know the red thing? I love this fight. I adore chase segments in games, specifically ones where you must run upwards as water rises, you know, something that was quite common in Rayman 2 and 3. Well, a good chunk of this encounter is similar to that. The boss climbs up a cave and Rayman has to try his best to parkour around and escape. It's always a good time when a level throws this kind of thing at you. The second part of this encounter places Rayman in an arena with Carnivora where he must avoid the attacks and hit the purple blister when it appears. This is quite standard for every boss battle in Rayman Origins, but this one, in my opinion, it's just the best one. It requires speed and accuracy, but most of all, it's just fun. Both parts of this boss fight come together beautifully to make such a memorable level. I love it. So I've made it clear on this channel that Rayman Origins is better than Rayman Legends in many ways. In my opinion, of course. So surely Rayman Legends' boss fights are worse as well, right? No, actually Rayman Legends wipes the floor with Origins in terms of bosses, mostly. Yeah, some of these bosses are not amazing, but some absolutely nail it. The scale is there, the excitement, it's bigger, it's better, it's 3D now, wow! Maybe I'm entertained by jangling keys, but I love the 3D bosses, I think it's such a cool idea. Though it was discovered fairly recently that this may have been due to Rayman Legends starting life as a 3D game. I'm working on a video right now that delves into exactly what Rayman Legends was originally supposed to be and how the engine was changed to accommodate that. It's quite interesting. Anyway, I like the first boss fight, the dragon one, I like the second boss fight, I like the fourth boss fight, I like the fifth boss fight, but if you haven't cottoned on yet, I think the WWE wrestler boss fight is the best in Rayman Legends. Look at this thing, it's loads of fun, it's big, it's tense, it's tricky, but most of all, as I've said, it's loads of fun. And that's really what it's all about, right? Some of your bosses you find in games just aren't fun. I don't necessarily mean Rayman, at least not Rayman Legends, but so many bosses can be trial and error, repetition, cutscene filled bore fest, but this one, nah, I love it. I do actually like all the boss fights in Rayman Legends, they're all unique enough and fun in their own right, and I think that's something this game has really got going for it. Where it falls short in some regards, the boss fights, music levels and invasions are second to none. Good lord, that's all of them? That's a shame. I wish there were more Rayman games. Anyway, as always, if I were to rank these worst to best, I would say Mr. Sax is the worst. I don't dislike this boss fight, but in a lot of ways I do dislike Rayman 1. So yeah, this is last. Next up is Fouch from Rayman 2. I love Rayman 2 and I do like Fouch a lot, but there's no denying bosses in this game, they're not really the highlight, are they? It's good, it's serviceable, but it's not excellent. El Luchador comes in third. It's a load of fun and a real spectacle of a level, and it's hard not to have a blast playing it. Carnivora comes in second. Such a fun boss fight in a brilliant level in an excellent game. Oh, Rayman Origins. Anyway, of course, the first reflux fight from Rayman 3 takes the top spot. Absolute masterpiece of a boss fight. I absolutely love it. You'd never guess that I like Rayman 3, would you? What do you think of my picks and my ranking of them? What bosses do you like the most and how would you rank them? Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. This was a fun video to put together, so don't forget to subscribe and stick around for the worst boss fights in every Rayman game. But until then, stay purple, stay awesome, don't have esophageal reflux, and I'll see you in the next one.